With the release of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet basically taking over everything Pokemon related on YouTube, it's been a little while since I've done one of my Fakemon videos, but in today's video, we're actually here to combine those two topics, and look at some brand new Paradox Pokemon that I have created that I think would be amazing to see in these games. Paradox Pokemon are, of course, the past and future forms of various Pokemon that you see towards the end of Scarlet and Violet. And with it seeming like we are definitely going to get DLC for these games that very possibly could also introduce more Paradox Pokemon, I thought it would be cool to make some of my own that I personally think would be amazing to see as well, and that's what we're here to do, like I said. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so as I mentioned, it is very, very likely, due to various reasons, that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are going to be getting DLC, and one of those reasons has to do with some mysterious Paradox Pokemon that appear within the games within the Scarlet and Violet books as drawings, but don't actually appear themselves. These would of course be Paradox Pokemon that resemble fusions of both the legendary beasts from Johto and the Swords of Justice from Unova. And since these guys have a pretty good shot, I would say, at appearing in that aforementioned DLC, I thought it would be cool to create another Paradox Pokemon just like these two that is a combination of some legendary Pokemon that make up a group. And that is what inspired me to create Paradox Latios and Latias. Just like these two drawings, this Paradox Pokemon doesn't take inspiration or a main basis from one or the other of the Eon duo, but instead combines them into one form, which is a concept that I can't really explain because we don't really know how it works at this point, obviously, but it is following in the footsteps of these two mysterious Pokemon that will probably make their official appearance in the near future. However, Latias and Latios work quite well as future form Paradox Pokemon because they're already partially based on fighter jets, and obviously that is really easy to translate into a futuristic appearance, which is what we've done here. We have also, as such, made this Pokemon a Dragon Steel type, which not only fits with the futuristic and the jet theme, but it also minimizes this Pokemon's weaknesses as a Dragon type, giving it only like 2 weaknesses, I believe, and also a bunch of resistances, which will maximize its effectiveness and strength. I have even created a shiny for this Pokemon that uses the colors from both Shiny Latios and Latias, further implying and representing this Pokemon as a combination of the two. With that said though, there is one more important detail about this Pokemon that I have yet to mention, and that would of course be its name. Now, I am not a fan at all of the way that the Paradox Pokemon are named, because their names literally aren't names, but nevertheless, that is the way it is at this point, and so I'm gonna be forced to give this Pokemon a name that matches with the rest of the Paradox Pokemon, and the name that I have come up with is Iron Jet. Not only because it's a steel type, but also because all of the future form Paradox Pokemon begin their name with the word iron, and obviously, as mentioned previously, this Pokemon is based heavily on a jet. Overall though, I think this looks amazing, if I do say so myself, and if we do indeed get a few more Paradox Pokemon in potential upcoming DLC for Scarlet and Violet, this is one that I would absolutely love to see happen. Of course, however, the Paradox Pokemon do not just consist of future forms, because they also consist of past form Pokemon that appear in Pokemon Scarlet, and a past form Pokemon is what we're going to be focusing on today. More specifically, a past form of Aerodactyl. Now, the reason why I chose Aerodactyl to feature as a past form Paradox Pokemon is pretty simple, and it's because Aerodactyl is already a fossil Pokemon, so it already originates from the past, and there is a lot of both rumblings and speculation, as well as implications within the world of Pokemon, that the fossil Pokemon that we see in the modern day aren't quite the way they actually were in real life, because they've been altered a little bit due to the restoration process that has restored them back to life. So I thought it would be cool to revisit a fossil Pokemon in this way to ultimately show its true appearance the way it existed in nature all of those years ago. That is pretty much the concept for this paradox form of Aerodactyl, who I have dubbed Stony Skies, as it's obviously covered in rocks, which also explains its rock dragon typing, which finally gives it that dragon typing that a lot of people have associated with Aerodactyl as well, that it eventually lost over time in its modern day form. The inspiration behind this Pokemon does go a little bit deeper, however, because it is also inspired by Mega Aerodactyl's Pokédex entry, where it states that some people believe that Mega Aerodactyl is the true appearance of the Pokemon, and so I basically took that and combined it with the concept that we see in Roaring Moon's appearance, which is the paradox form of Salamence, where it also takes some inspiration from Mega Salamance's form and kind of ties the two together. So basically what I wanted to do here is to take the concept of Roaring Moon and its resemblance to Mega Salamence and the Dex entry of Mega Aerodactyl that states that Mega Aerodactyl is supposedly the true appearance of the Pokemon, and pretty much just mush them together and create a Mega Aerodactyl, quote-unquote, that is even more primal and is even more of what Mega Aerodactyl is, to create what is ultimately the definitive 100% true original version of this Pokemon. The idea behind that is that Mega Aerodactyl would awaken some of those original genes within itself that gives it that appearance, but this version of Aerodactyl, Stony Skies, is the version that Aerodactyl takes when all of those genes are awakened and it has truly ascended, or reverted rather, to its original state of being. We also, of course, have a shiny variant as well, and I decided on these colors simply because I thought they looked really cool, and it also kind of felt like it went with the whole primal past version theming that this Pokemon is going for, and sometimes that's all you need for a shiny. I think exploring paradox versions of fossil Pokemon, specifically in the past direction, would be really cool to see, so hopefully we'll get something like this if we do get more paradox forms. And for our third paradox Pokemon of the video, we are going to go back to the future forms and highlight none other than Mewtwo. Now, there's a few reasons why I have decided to highlight Mewtwo with a paradox form of its own, and that is because, number one, it's Mewtwo. Number two, as a legendary Pokemon, it would fit in with the direction that it seems like the potential DLC is going to go with more paradox Pokemon, since it seems like we're already going to get a couple legendary paradoxes in the Beast Pokemon and the Swords of Justice Pokemon, and as a future form, Mewtwo just fits in really well, since it's already kind of a futuristic Pokemon itself. And that is what ultimately landed us on this future paradox form of Mewtwo. Now I say we because I actually forgot to mention that all of the artwork in this video was actually commissioned from my good friend Oscar Belmonte, so be sure to check him out with the links in the description because he clearly deserves it. With that said though, this future version of Mewtwo is not only inspired by the fact that Mewtwo itself is a futuristic Pokemon, but also because Mewtwo is a clone. And the idea is that as a clone, Mewtwo's design was refined and refined and refined as time went on, until one day they came up with the perfect version of the Mewtwo concept, which is ultimately what this Pokemon is supposed to be, which I have dubbed Iron Clone. With its new robotic appearance, it is a Psychic Steel type, and its robotic appearance was not only inspired by the fact that it is a future form, but also due to Mewtwo's metal suit that we see it wearing in Pokemon the first movie, so this design is kind of a nod/reference to that. And speaking of that Iron Suit version of Mewtwo, it also provides inspiration to the shiny coloration of Iron Clone, as it takes the darker coloration that that form of Mewtwo has and combines it with Mewtwo's regular in-game shiny, which ultimately results in what I think is a really cool combination. I feel like giving Mewtwo a new form like this would be a great way to go since Mewtwo is already so iconic and popular, and therefore it would bring a ton of attention to the games, and given the futuristic nature of the Paradox Pokemon and Mewtwo's futuristic nature in and of itself, I think this could ultimately make for a pretty cool pairing. What do you guys think though? And what do you think about all of the Paradox Pokemon that I presented in this video? Would you like any of them to be real? Do you think we are actually going to get more Paradox Pokemon in DLC? Be sure to let me know in the comments below, and be sure to leave the video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more if you're new, because it really does help out a lot and is very much appreciated. With that said, I will be back very soon with another video as well, and until then, as always, thank you guys so much for watching this one. I really appreciate it, and I will smell you guys later.